Hey guys, welcome to another video. My name is Joe, and for this video I'm going to be modeling a couple of 3D icons. So I have some kind of a mood board here. I have some appliances and just what should we call them, some designs that were created by the greats Dieter Rams, and I have a couple of other images right here like this. This is a recent 3D icon rebrand for Amazon, and this right here. So what I'm trying to achieve is something that is as simple as this, right? But a little less industrial and just hard looking. So this is going to be a combination of this right here and how soft these edges are and this modeling or this these products are in this image. And then I have a color palette that I think is already defined. We have orange and we have some nude colors. So the reason why I'm doing this is, I don't know how many of you guys know I work in e-commerce as a designer. So while we create banners to sell products, there are things that we try to put on the banner to make it more appealing, and one of those things are like 3D icons like this. We use them sometimes, a lot of the times rather, to create depth, and like I said, to make the banner more exciting. I have some references down here. I'm going to model through the whole thing. I don't know how long this is going to take, but I think we should just start right now. So I'm just going to start with the phone. I don't know how many there are, but there are over 15 for sure. I'm going to start with the phone right here, and I'm going to just reduce this to the corner of the screen. And I think my starting point is going to be right here. I'm going to change this right now to edit mode and GZ up to the surface. And I can scale this on the Y-axis and then maybe scale this on the Z-axis, just like so. I think I want to make this phone, but a little more, I don't say cartoonish, but something that looks like a 3D icon, of course. I don't want it to be too realistic. So I'm going to do something like this. Just select these edges, maybe scale it on the Z-axis, and then I'm going to apply that scale. And then with this, I can just Ctrl B, bevel that. I think it's enough bevel for this. I can select this and auto smooth the whole thing. And right here, what I'm going to do is select this. I'm going to insert just like so. And I'm going to insert this into the screen. But before I do that, I want to select these edges or these vertices right here and move them on the surface up like so. So it's going to look more like the lower versions of the iPhone, like this iPhone 6 or 7 right here. So I'm going to select this face and insert inward just like so. So I think that's cool. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to put some side buttons to this. So I'll add a loop on this side, Ctrl B to bevel that vertices, select this in and bring this in. I'll make a duplicate of this and then scale down to just extrude out, just like so. So we have this. I'm just going to merge by distance. And then with this face, I can just bevel just like so. So this can catch some bevel lights. So this is cool. I'm going to make the button right here, but it's not going to be like an actual insert. I'll just put a cylinder, come back to the front view and orient this to my view just like so. So we have a button right here, and I'm going to SY and just bring this in. And for this, I'm just going to bevel just like so. And I'll shade that smooth. So I think we're cool with this phone. The other thing is I want to add this, I don't know what they call this, but that notch up there. I'm just going to select this face, bring cursor to selected, and I'll bring in a cube and GZ just like so. So in the front view, this doesn't look centralized. I'm just going to scale this on the X and GX just like so. I think I'm not going to do equal bevel for all. I'm going to bevel this all the way, and then for this part I'm going to do a little bevel to it. So I feel like this is better. So before I maybe add a subdivision or anything, I want to select all of these edges just like so and add a bevel to it. Okay, that's good. I think I'm going to go down to shading right now. So I'm going to bring in a plane, and my shading, I have to set up the scene in such a way that I can rotate SKUs or products out of the scene while keeping the lighting intact. So I'm just going to set a plane. It's going to be the background for all the products, and I'll easy just like so. So I'm going to select the camera and put that to active and lock that to get a good camera view that I like. So for this, I want to create a square aspect ratio. So I'm just going to copy this and paste in this. So we have a square aspect ratio. I think my camera is a bit too not flat, so I'm going to make it flat. Change this to 150, and that is good. So I'm going to have something like this. I'm going to scale this on the x-axis just so I don't see it in the shots. Just like unlock that camera, and we're going to go into red dot mode on this side. I'm going to bring in an HDRI, and I'm going to use this right here. I want to make sure I have a flat lighting for the whole thing so that I can bring in accent lighting and it won't be an issue. I think I'm going to use this. So we have this. We see the hard edge behind the hard edge that the background is leaving behind. So I'm just going to select that face and GY, bring this in just like so. And I can select this edge, select all scale, and then bevel this. So I can shade that smooth. And what I'm going to do next is GZ. And I'm just going to start, adding the color palettes to this. I think here, where's the color? Okay, so these are the colors that I'm going to be trying to create. For the background, let me just name this background. We're going to go with like a creamy kind of color, something like this. High roughness, then specularity down. And I think that's about that. For the button right here, I think we're going to use the button to establish the accent color we want to use. So for this central button, I'm going to use this orangish color right here. And then for this, we're going to call this the main body. So the main body is going to be a little creamy, but also able to stand out from the background. So we're just going to keep this slightly creamy pause, just like so. And then this button and this are going to have the same. So I think this is going to be accent. So we basically already have the phone. I probably just want to highlight the screen. So I'm just going to select the screen right here and create a new material. I'm going to call this emission. Switch this over to an emissive material, and then we assign. So I don't want this to just look too flat, so I'm going to increase this to 10, and I'm going to bring in a gradient texture, right? And I'm going to bring in a color up. So for this, I'm just going to Ctrl T to bring in node wrangler, and then for this linear, I'm going to change to quadratic sphere. And we're just going to move this on the z-axis to get it to line up the way we want. So now that it's lined up the way we want, so I'm just going to scale this. What I'm trying to do is just trying to get the edges to, be a little less brighter than the center of the screen. Okay, so I can use my color ramp to bring that in just a little bit. I want to bring down the environment light a little bit, so I'm going to do 0.6 on that. Okay, so I want to do some more lighting to this. So what I want to do first is to bring in a gobo to add some variety to that background. So I'm going to go into my assets browser. I'm going to select a gobo light. Yeah, something like this. I'm going to bring that to center and GZ. So what we're just doing with the gobo is just to add some visual interest to the floor and the background and everything there. But I don't think I like this one, so I'm just going to go to the shader menu and switch out the leaf. I think this, no. Maybe I want to increase the radius a little more so it's not this sharp. That's cool. Sorry, I don't know, I think I have a flu. However, I want to add a little more light into this. So something I want to add to this is I can go to there's a light studio add-on. This is my favorite lighting add-on, and it has been for a really long time. So I just create a new lighting studio. Can you come to this studio right here, create a panel, and with this panel I can just click on the part that I want the light to show. So we have the lights down there. I'm just going to zoom in so we can see what we're doing. For this, maybe I want this main body to be more glossy. So for these lights, I can just want to switch to this and then just move it around to see what we can get from that. S and let's GY. So what I want to do is take this gobo light and maybe rotate it on the Z-axis. I don't think I like how the front has so much exposure. So I'm going to rotate like this. Maybe I want to change this. I don't like it. Just like so is dope. So I'm going to bring in an area light just in front, RX90. Remember, I'm trying to set up in such a way that I don't have to change the, light setting for every SKU I create. So I'm going to GX, bring this to the side. I want to see if a render would look good. So I'm just going to reduce this to 100. Probably cut this one by half so we don't take so much time in the render. And let's see what this bad boy looks like. So I like this. I want to add a little more lights to this part right here. Just something behind, and this front is just a little too smooth for me. So I'm going to increase the area light in front of it. So right here, I'm going to add in a point light, go to the Z-axis and move this to the back right here. I'm going to increase the radius on that and increase the strength. So we can see this picking that reflection right here. So I just want to just move it in such a way that it falls off nicely. And then I can GZ. Okay, that's cool. However, this fall off is a little too sharp. So I'm going to reduce the roughness. Or rather increase the roughness. So the fall off is a little smoother. Alright, so I like that a lot. So I'm going to increase the brightness on this, scale on the x-axis, reduce the brightness. Or maybe I can GZ or GX. I think this accent color also needs a little roughness. And that's cool. I'm just going to run one more render so I can get my compositor setting right, and we actually just run through the remaining things that we have to render. I have a lot to render to model. So I'm just going to run a quick test. All right, so we're done with the render. I'm just going to go to the compositor and use node. I think first node I want to bring in is the glare node. I'll turn on the viewer. Glare, looking crazy and too much. So I want to change this to fog glow, bring the mix down to -0.9. And I think that's just about right. So I'm going to bring in a color, maybe color balance first. Oh no, let's do color correction first. Color correction, and I want to just increase saturation of the entire thing. In case saturation is good, but now the yellow is a little too saturated, so I'm going to go back and reduce the saturation on this. Probably want to increase saturation on the body of this phone, or I don't even know. Let me see. All right, render for the last time, and we're on. All right, so I think we got our base model, and everything looks sharp. So what I'm going to do now is just model more, swap this out, and just do that for all, the icons. So we already have the phone captured. I'm just going to select all the elements that we used for that, and I'm going to put that into a new collection, which is called the collection phones. And in that collection, I'm just going to knock that out of the scene. So the next we're going to modeling right here is the blender. So we're just going to start with obviously a cube shape. So I'm going to bring in a cube shape right here, and I'm just going to GZ on the surface, scale that down, and then for this I'm going to extrude this part right here. And GZ, just like so. So we have that. I'm going to scale this on the Z axis. I'm going to select these edges right here. I'm going to extrude inward, duplicate that, GZ, and then I'm going to delete only face, select this and E, and then extrude on Z axis, just like so. So I'm going to select all and then extrude along the normals, but we need to recalculate those normals, so I can extrude along the normals just like so. Remember, we're not going for realism, we're just going for something that could work as a 3D icon, so something a little more stylized. So I can GZ, bring this in, scale a little bit, and I think that's good. And I can GZ, just like so, and I can EZ, GZ, and I just want to scale this out up top. Scale, GZ, scale. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I want to create some buttons right here in front, so I can select this bevel. I can select these two edges and then bevel. Right here, I can bevel this just like so. I can select these two faces insert and then extrude inward, while I can now select this outer one and extrude outward. So what I can now do is select this, bring cursor to the selected. I'm going to add in a cylinder. Front view, I'm going to rotate by 90, scale this down. And for this, I can scale up an SX, just like so. So we can easily just create the regulator right here. And I can extrude this on the Y, SY0, scale this on the Z axis, finishing touch to this. So for this, I'm going to select face and bevel. So this is cool. I can start bringing in colors. So we have this. I'm going to link this to this. And for this, we already have the main body, that's this. For this, I'm going to insert Shift D, P to separate that selection. Select the entire thing and then just extrude. What we want to do with this main body too is just to make this more less saturated. Say that serves like some kind of sticker. So for this, we're going to use our accent color. I think for the cover too, we're going to use accents. So just for some more detail on this, I'm going to add loop, select. I'm going to bevel those, and I'm just going to extrude this along normals. Just some extra detail. All right, I think to the side, I want to add just some variety. It's just maybe some panel lines to this. Looks too empty. So I'm going to scale this a Z0 and just bevel. Run some inserts right here. So I can just select all of this, and then we'll move to a separate collection called Blender. After the Blender, we'll move to washing machine. So I think most part of this is just going to be fast forwarded or something, because I'm literally just going to be doing the same thing. So I'm going to bring in a box, scale this, scale on the Z axis, and this is cool. So what I want to do, I'll select all of this all the way and then bevel them just like so. I can scale on the Z axis a little bit, auto smooth, and then right here I just want to add some panel lines. I'm going to insert that. What I want to do next, I'm going to add some detail to this. So I'm going to add this right here, this right here. So these three are going to have like this 3 detail back here. So it's going to be insert individually. I'm going to bevel, but need to apply scale and then bevel these just like so. And with these faces selected, I can easily just insert. So we have a sweet detail back there. What I want to do next, I'm going to insert this, right? Subdivide, and then I'm going to convert this into a circle. Scale this down. I'm going to insert all the way in. Remember, I'm trying to make the washing machine. Something else I can do is just select this entire loop, right? I'm going to separate that selection and then ES extrude along the surface, just like so. Select all of it and just extrude that face. So we have the front facing part of the washing machine. I can just select all of this and scale in. So that's cool. I can select this edge, and this edge, and just bevel. So with this, I can just add, another bevel, add a subdivision to that, apply my subdivision, and then auto smooth. I think that's cool. So for the inner chamber of this, I'm just going to add some details, maybe like some panel lines. and then extrude along normals just like so. Just add a little more detail to that. And right here, I'm going to call cursor to this point because I want to add a UV sphere. And this UV sphere is going to serve as the glass that blocks this point. So auto shade smooth, simple. I'm going to separate this as X. And then we can give this the glass material. I think we use this. I'm going to add the light inside here so we can see inside of the washing machine. So I'm going to add the point lights to that case. And increase. All right, so we have a point light inside there. I'm just going to change this to a friendly blue tone. I'm going to GZ, move it out of the camera just a little more. GY. Let it GZ. All right. So just to make the light less obvious, I can add some more roughness, just a little bit more roughness to this. And then the lights, I need to bring down the power to bring down dispersion. All right, so that's cool. For washing machine, usually has some of all these dials, but I won't put all of it. Remember, we're going for a stylized look, not a realistic look. So we have this. I'm going to select, bring this, select, bring this, select, bring this. And for this, I can just insert, bring this in, insert again, and bring this out. So that's cool. Right here, I can bring in a cylinder, bring it to view, scale that down just like so. SY, scale this down. We're just going to put in some dowels on this side. So I'm going to bevel this. Maybe I want to separate this as a separate selection. And then in the front view, I can shift DX, scale this down, make it look like it does something different. Shift DX on this side, maybe a different size. Maybe for the top, we need, if not a bevel, then maybe an insert also. Then I think this needs a stand, so I'm going to bring cursor to center. I'm going to bring in a cylinder, Z axis, scale this down just like so, and I'm going to bring it to all corners of, or maybe I could duplicate this, then that's applied, duplicate to the other side, and that's cool. So we have a stand. GZ. So I can link this to the main body material, and I think we're done with this. The only thing I'm bothered by is the fact that I'm seeing the light inside, but I think I'm just going to leave it like that. So I'm just going to run a render on this and see what it looks like, and then we'll move on to what's the next. Move on to the fridge. All right, so this is, I like what this is looking like, only that I think all of this saturation, I'm probably going to drop all of this. This is very, very strong saturation on that orange. I should do that right now. GX. So it's a good thing that we have the same color going for all of it. So I can just drop saturation. And let's see what the render looks like. Okay. All right. So I'm going to select all of the item that makes up the washing machines, including this, and move it to washing machine. So same thing, I'm going to hide that, and that washing machine includes this light. So the next one we're going to work on the fridge. To GZ. Then scale it on the Z axis, just like so. So what I'm going to do now is select this. I'm going to run a bevel on all those, just like so. And with this, I can separate this selection, or, yep, separate the selection, select these edges, join. I can join, join. So what's going to happen next is just, I'm going to create a divide that shows the two different parts, and I can GY bring this out. So for this, I'm going to add a solidify modifier to this. I think I'm going to continue this another time because I don't feel good. GY. Right here, I can V to separate those on the Z axis, select all and extrude out, just like so. So I'm going to select the boundaries of this loop, select boundaries, that's cool. And I'm going to bevel that. All right, and GZ, bring this down, and then GY, shade smooth, and then I can bring cursor to this point. I'm going to bring set origin to 3D cursor, and I can RZ, but not the whole thing. I just want this one, so I can separate that selection and RZ to just open that down compartment. That's good. I'm going to recall the entire thing, RZ. And what I want to do first is maybe create a base for this, so I can duplicate that. Select this, remove the solidify mode. I can go to edit mode, scale this in, and with this, I can just connect this to F, GY. Just like so, select all, fill the face, easy, iPad GZ, bring this whole thing down. And then with this face selected, I can insert, extrude inward, just like so. Select this, can select this face, extrude out, scale all of that. And again, I'm going to fill the face, but this time around we want to make connections so that we can run some loops around this. So I'm going to create a loop here, just like so, join, and then join, and here that's going to make the rack like so. I'm going to bring in the wireframe, we have that. So for this down compartment, it looks a little bare, so I'm going to add some edge loops right here. Or how am I going to do this? I think I'm going to add edge loops like so. I'm going to add another on this side. I'm going to insert and maybe insert inward, just like so. So I'm going to select all of it. You can just slide bend it to all. All right. So I think that's that about this. I'm just going to start adding our materials. I want to introduce a light into this, so I'm going to bring in, what kind of light I'm going to use? An area light. Scale that GZ. And we'll turn on the lights. We're going to increase brightness. Give it a blue color. And that's cool. But this down part looks empty, so I'm just going to duplicate this cage or mesh right here. And for this, I'm going to give this the accent color. Same applies to this. If I introduce the color to that, I want to apply the solidify modifier and then bevel this right here. Cypher GY. Close that. I can add this main body, add this main body. Add this, add this, add this, add this. So for this, we'll have its own group. That's the fridge. Add that GZ. And then we introduce the feet. Well, guys, I think I'm about done with this. This took longer than I expected. And I think after this, I'll just model the weights, and that should be all for this. I have a couple of stuff modeled out already. I have the duffel bag. I have the box, the delivery boxes. Remember, these are 3D icons that are to be used for like e-commerce websites and stuff. I have the boxes. I have some group of boxes. I have what else? I have a laptop. I have a speaker. So something that we do is kind of announce flash sales and announce, certain deals that would pop up at random times of the day. These are icons that could, portray that feeling. I am still looking for an ideal, shading that would work for this. I'm still going to tweak this further, but I just want to show you all that, that have been done for this. I have like a table right here. I have a cup. I have a deal tag. I particularly love the deal tag. Really good. And I have a clock. So aside the other ones that I've modeled already, like all of these are also modeled. So let me just get down to the last few. So what I'm going to introduce a circle to the scene. And with this, I can fill that face and extrude slightly. So we just want to form this base right here. And what we're going to do is just zoom in, frame to selected. I'm going to GZ, extrude one more time, and I'm going to bevel that. So that is bevel. I'm going to select this base right here and extrude along normals. I think that's cool. And then for this, I'm going to call the cursor to this point. What I can do is ES. And then on the top view right here, scale, I can G, move to this point, GY. I think I'm going to bring the cylinder right here. Cylinder? Yeah, I'm going to bring the cylinder. I'm going to come to the side view, and with these I can rotate, scale down, and on this face right here, GG. So this is cool. With this, I can select this face. I'm going to apply all of those transform right here. I think we can have a detail here and have this extruded out just like so. So with this face, what we can do is extrude I can scale this, I can select this, scale, and then I can bevel just like so. So we have our reading lamp. I think for the reading lamp, I probably want to ES, but I'm going to do it from individual origins or from bounding box EX or ES rather. And I can extrude this. I could just scale this in. We add an edge loop, scale that, Ctrl B. All right, so I can just add, I wanted to add shade, but I feel like this is too thick. So I'm going to add this and shrink that down slightly. All right, so this I'm going to give our main body shading and the head. I think I'm going to give the head pause the main body shading. However, our accent color is going to come in right here. I don't think we have enough accent in this shape, so I'm going to apply the accent to this base also. So I have our accent color apply to the base, assign. So I'm just going to run a quick render and see what this looks like while I figure out how I'm going to model this. I think I'm going to do this weights and not this weights, because I feel like it's going to be easier for me to finish and round up. After that, I would render all of it. I don't know if I'm going to put it out. I'll probably already just make it as a video, put it out, and anyone that is interested in having it can have it. I've not decided yet, actually. I don't even think I'll have any further use of this because I am leaving e-commerce effective like 2 weeks from now. So I don't think I'll be using so much of e-commerce icons anymore. I am moving to fintech and I'll be designing there for a while, you know, I try to be better at Blender, 3D stuffs, logo design, just be a better designer generally. So what I'm going to do next is, I think the rendering is cool. I'm still not satisfied with this head right here. I would remember we're going for a soft visual language like this. So all of this is too sharp, it's too harsh. So I'm going to soften all of this. So I can Shift C to centralize our 3D cursor to the scene, and I'll bring in, how many sides is this? 1, 2, 3. This looks like a 6-sided polygon. So I'll bring in a circle and then reduce the vertices to 6. So this is cool. What I can do next is go to view and then I'll focus on this. So with this, I can enter edit mode, fill that, extrude that just like so. And then I can choose Z. And then on both sides, I would bevel, but this time around, we want just the one level bevel. I want to bevel that again. One level of bevel. But right here, we want to GZ. I want to run another bevel on this. So I'm going to apply scale, switch to edge, and I'm going to run a bevel just like so. And I'm going to call the 3D cursor to this point, Shift C, and bring the cursor, Shift S, cursor to selected. That's what I did. And I'm going to bring in the cylinder, scale that down. Easy does it. GZ, Shift Z. That's cool. I think for this center, I can ES, just like so. And I'll probably change that into a circle, or maybe I need to subdivide it and change it into a circle. Okay, that's cool. I can EZ and E again. Shift D, Z, exactly, and then rotate 180 degrees. GZ. So this is a perfect dumbbell. I'm just going to join the entire mesh into one, and then I'm going to set origin to the geometry, rotate on the Y by 90 degrees, and I'll start shading. I'm going to have the main body color, but for the weights are going to have the accents. So I'm going to add the accent to this and assign, and that looks like a weight that doesn't look, that is not heavy, but it's cool. I think it works. So, or select X, SX. Okay. Render image. Let me see what that looks like. And I think that is it. That is that about these videos or this video. I used about 3 outfits to create the video. So I used 3 nights after work. So let's say 2 hours every night. That's about 6 hours to compile this entire thing. So that's it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. So long. Goodbye. And until I see you the next time. Peace.